a computer that's going to determine what is the future of this country. That is not it. It's in us. We got to change us.
It's useless if you don't win elections.
The camera's right there, man. Go for it.
All right. Hold on 1 sec. One sec.
Closing.
All right. We actually normally we end at 9. It's now 5 after. So on the guarantee that we're all going to tip very heavily, and I think I tipped about 60% on my bill. So I assume everybody else will do on that. We can go another 10 minutes. So that'll give Wayne a chance to finish. Cheap? But more important, because there's only so much I could take from the MLP donations. By the way, another subject. Joseph Dobrian has left us for Iowa City. I think New York City, Iowa City. One has to wonder about that. And as a consequence, I'm passing around like a baseball cap. I don't have Joseph's fancy. We still took in $108, and I thank you all for that contribution, which will help the Manhattan LP continue to do evenings like this and to continue to put out Serf City and all of the other great things. We have time for a couple more questions. Wayne, very quickly, 30 seconds, and then we'll take some questions.
The core of the debate was right there in what Ernie said and what you just said. How can you even think of being a national chair or getting anyone's vote if you don't care if the party succeeds and you don't care if people vote?
Succeeds at what?
Winning elections is a political party.
Okay, that's what I want to make. The success of the Libertarian Party is election totals, right?
Yes, but you're not
that's
wrong.
all I want to know.
Let me say something. Ernie's not wrong. He just shouldn't be national chair. You got the wrong job. You should be activist. That's what you're good at. But you can't be the national chair of a political party when you don't think it's a political party and the job of parties is to win elections, in your opinion. This is not a library. It's not a debate club. It is absolutely a political party, and the guy who wins is not the one with the perfect issue. It's the one who gets millions of people to watch him or her on Fox News and who tells a joke that makes them go, I get it. Like I say, I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. You know what the difference is between Las Vegas and Washington, D.C.? In Vegas, the drunks gamble with their own money. People all get it. I've got crowds of 20,000 laughing and getting it. In Vegas, they take your money. You can't win. You have no chance, and yet you still leave happy because they give you a free drink and a free room, and they're nice to you. Okay, they have customer service. In Washington, they just send you, they kick you to the town line, and you're broke, and they've stolen your money. There's the difference. People get it. You gotta tell stories, you gotta be entertaining, you gotta be colorful, and you gotta get on TV to reach millions of people, not hand out flyers that 18 people see. It isn't enough.
Money, vote totals, media coverage, excitement, support,
seats in Congress,
comes as a vote totals, comes as a side effect of telling the truth, of being libertarian, of being what we are at the core. And you're not going to change our statement of principles anyway. We, the members of the Libertarian Party, support the rights of the individual and challenge the cult, this adoration, this worship of an omnipotent state, this all-powerful, all-knowing. And you can scream as loud as you want of how moderate you're going to be, how you're not going to frighten the old people, the Christians, the Jews, the gays, the whatever, and I'll guarantee you, you are not going to be a greater choice for those people than the incumbent Republican or Democrat that's saying it even more louder and with more money. The only thing that we have that differentiates us from them is principle. The time will come. It will always come. It's for those that bleed the hardest, the longest. The second you start to deviate. You read, Libertarianism 101 in the Serf City. I had the opportunity to write an article. It's the only thing I wrote that in like 2000. I'm going, this is why Arizona has been doing so well. Is because we took on these aphorisms, these sayings, these tactics. And the vote totals never, ever, ever has been a determining factor on the positions that we've taken. What has happened, though, is we have things passed like concealed carry without permits. We have initiatives on the ballot to legalize marijuana this year. You know, these are things we're going to, why? Why? Because we're after how many minds we can free. The rest of this stuff is a side effect. You're so concerned about libertarians getting credit for being free, you're never going to be free.
This is first a comment, then a question for both of them. For starters, I'm not a libertarian. I'm an extreme anti-prohibitionist. And when I heard what Wayne said, I'll put it another way. If I were a gay Republican in the log cabins, hearing what you said would make me reluctant to leave the log cabins and come to the libertarians. I do want to ask both of you how you feel about nationwide, the issue of cross endorsement. You mentioned, the Republican Party, which, basically forced the Javises out of the GOP in New York. As an outsider who's an extreme anti-prohibitionist who associates with the libertarians for that reason, I think it's ridiculous you refuse to cross endorse. Both of you talked about a place on the table. That being the case, if you cannot win elections and you can spoil elections, you can force people at the table, whether you find your place to the table or not, to start singing your song.
I agree. I just said I want to cross-endorse. I want to endorse not only Republicans, but Democrats. I want to scare them. I want to confuse them. But I want to make sure I make something clear to you. When you say you're an anti-prohibitionist, first of all, you use the word extreme. In the real world, I know, but in the real world, that would turn off 90% of everybody. So I don't want to turn off 90%, I want to bring them in. And by bringing them in, I will make more progress than an extreme person could ever make in a million years by bringing them in. And by the way, when I ran for office at the age of 21, a kid right out of college, in an all-black Democratic district, 100% Democrat, as a Republican at the age of 21. I ran against a woman who had been in office for 25 years, a dedicated liberal, and I came the closest to beating her of anyone who ever ran against her in history and got the highest vote totals in black neighborhoods of any Republican ever. Because I'm a consensus builder. I'm a Big Tent guy. Now, on the topic of prohibition, I come from Nevada. Well, I was asked today on the radio. They said, what does a libertarian believe in? There's an Ernie question. And I said, I believe in economic and personal freedom. They said, what's the difference between you and a Republican? I said, well, on economic issues, we actually do it. We walk the walk. We don't just talk the talk. They're liars. On the social issues, I believe it's none of your damn business what someone does in their own bedroom. And when it comes to prohibition and sin, I believe you got to legalize it and tax it because I come from Nevada. And the only way you'll ever be free to smoke marijuana or online gambling or prostitution is if they are states' rights issues, and if you allow them to tax them and the government desperately needs the money, you're going to get the freedom. And so I'm on the right side because you're the biggest marijuana organization in America, just endorsed the idea of legalizing and taxing marijuana, which would bring in, they said, $200 billion over the next 10 years. I'm all for it, and I got the model, Nevada. Why do we have the lowest taxes in America? Because we tax and legalize sin. And that money means the rest of you get, the taxpayers don't have to pay as much in taxes. It's a great idea, it works. And this guy was a Republican conservative, and he said, you know what? You're right. I don't know what else I could say or do. Does anyone know Bill Cunningham? One of the biggest talk show hosts in America. Bill Cunningham on radio, an hour with me and Bill Cunningham. When the hour was up, here's what he said, on the air. I've been a Republican my whole life. I am so tempted to become a libertarian. I'm scared to death, but you've convinced me I am close. Who else can do this? Not someone who says extreme things, someone who says nice things and wins people over and is tolerant and has a big tent and tells jokes and entertains and makes people like the Libertarian Party. We don't seem so pure and so angry.
Let's have Ernie give us the last word.
Libertarianism is very clear. They're libertarian or they're not. If they're not, how would they be endorsed? I don't even like the idea that we endorse libertarians. You know, if we go in there and say, I endorse this person because they filled out a form that they gave to who? To the government. They gave a form to the government. Hitler walks in to Arizona Secretary of State and hands a piece of paper to the Secretary of State, and they are now libertarian. The libertarian endorsement comes from them being libertarian. So I'm looking at, so it's very unlikely that you would have somebody being libertarian, run as a Republican or Democrat.